Good morning everyone. Welcome back to Coding Hives. This is Rasina with you. Hope you all are doing good. So in today's video, we are going to learn about method overloading in Python. Unlike some other programming languages such as C++ or Java, Python does not support method overloading by default. But don't worry, I will show you how we can achieve method overloading in different ways. Method overloading means defining two or more methods with the same name, but with a different number of arguments or different type of arguments. So here I wrote two functions with the same name, right? Greet with a single argument and another greet with two arguments. We can say as an example of method overloading, that means the same function name and with a different number of arguments or different type of arguments. Here the case is different number of arguments. That means here one argument is there, here two arguments are there. So here the problem is Python only recognizes the last defined function. I mean this function. Okay. Whenever we are going to call the first greet function, it will give us an error. I will show that. So here I am giving coding. So here I am passing only one argument, right? So it need to invoke this function, but here we will get some error like one argument is missing. That is why it is only looking for the last defined function. So if I am giving something like this, you can see now we will get the output because it is the last defined function with the two arguments. Clear? So that is the problem with the method overloading in Python. There are some ways we can achieve this method overloading. Okay, so I will explain that all in detail. So the first one is using default argument. So I will tell you how we can achieve method overloading using this default argument. So here, as the name mentioned, we are using some default arguments. I believe you know what is meant by default argument. That is the argument which we are giving the value by default. Okay. So here I am writing the same function greet, and here I have a first name, then I have a last name, and last name I am making it as a default argument and with the value none. Okay. Now I need to check if there is first name, last name is not there, then we can make it as the first type of function. That means there is only one argument. If otherwise, it need to show like something like with the two arguments. So like that, we need to make some conditions. So here I can ask if last name is none. That means our first case. That is there is only one argument, right? So if that is the case, we can simply make this one. This output will come like there is only one argument. If that is the case, you can give something like hello first name. Clear? Otherwise, there are two arguments are there. So that is the case, we need to do something like print. That also I will copy from there. Clear? So now if I am calling the function as we did before, I will make the above code sol comment. So here I am going to call first thing is a single argument, only one argument. Okay, that means this case if last name is none. Okay, so this is only the first name, and then I am going to call greet hi, then coders. Okay, so you can see here we are not getting any error. Like first is hello coding hives, that is mean this one, and second one is hello hi coders. Clear? This case there we wrote only two arguments, right? But if there is multiple arguments, this our code will be more congested, right? So now we are moving for our second method, that is using star args. So here using star args, we can handle multiple arguments dynamically. Okay. So for that I will show an example of code like def add. Then here I have a list of numbers. So that is why I'm putting star numbers, right? And here I want to find the sum of that all numbers. So here I will get all the sum. Now I can print like sum equal to result, right? So in this case we wrote only one function named add, and here we put something like star numbers. That means it can handle multiple number of elements. So here now first I am going to call I will 3 comma 5 comma 7. Okay, I will call the function with the two parameters or two arguments. You can see the difference here. Like we are getting different outputs for different input, right? So you can see this method is more flexible than the default arguments, right? But it can be tricky if you need some specific behavior for different numbers or type of argument. That is why we are moving for the third one. That method is using a decorator that is using multiple dispatch. There is one library we have, multiple dispatch. So this is the easiest way to achieve method overloading, that is using multiple dispatch library. So for that we need to do install. So pip install multiple dispatch. For that we installed already this library. Now I need to import that one, like from multiple dispatch import. We need to import a decorator that name is dispatch. Okay, then I am going to implement this method overloading for multiplication. I'm planning to do something for multiplication here. So for that I need to use this dispatch thing, and in the parenthesis I need to show like how many arguments are there and what are the type of the argument. For example, if I want to multiply two numbers integer type, so I can do something like this, int. That means two arguments are there and the type of the arguments are integers. Okay, so here my function is def multiply, and here I am passing the arguments name like a and b. Okay, so here I just need to print the product. We can use a string. I'm simply just showing the printing thing like a into b equal to then a into b. Okay, so this is a method to multiply two numbers. Now I have another method. So for each method I need to use this decorator. So here I am doing something like three numbers. Okay, so I need to show that argument, number of arguments, and the type of argument. Okay, so I can give arguments like three arguments, right? Then I can copy this function name. So here we need to do one more variable, that is c, right? And here also c. Clear? Now I will show you how this method overloading can work with the different data types also. So for that I am using the same function, but here I am using the float kind of data. So for that I can mention a float. Okay, and here I am writing the same function name, that is multiply, and here the variable name I can use the same, no problem. Clear? So here also the same thing I can copy. Only the data type is changing, the remaining all things are same only. Here first we imported this dispatch decorator. Then here we need to mention before this function, before the function we are going to overload, we need to mention the type of the data and the number of arguments. So in the first case there are two integer type data and the function name is multiply. Here we are using three arguments. Here we are using three arguments and with a different data, that means float data type. So Here first I am going to call multiply 3 comma 5. Okay, that means our first function. Now second I am going to call our second function, that is 3 integers, right? So like this I'm giving. And third I am calling the function with some decimal value, I mean floating point. 3.5, 3.4, 4.2, like this. Okay, now you can see we are getting the output. So here this is the output for the first function, and this is the output for the second function, and the floating value is the output over the third function. Clear? So here this multiple dispatch library automatically selects the correct method based on the type and number of arguments. It is very simple and highly efficient than the other methods we learned before. So I hope you got a clarity about what is meant by this method overloading. As I told, Python does not support method overloading by default, but we can simulate it using 3 ways, that are default arguments, then using Args, then using this multiple dispatch library. This is the most efficient and elegant method we can use. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day.